Another midfielder we have to talk about is Aleksandar Pavlović, the Bayern Munich young player, another player who's came through his academy at Bayern Munich. And Toby, he's the third most valuable player in the Bundesliga, third most valuable player at Bayern Munich, third most valuable German player, and the sixth most valuable defensive midfielder in the world. When I watched him against PSG, although Bayern Munich obviously got knocked out of the Champions League and both games were quite chaotic, I felt like he was this island of stability and calmness amongst so many, incredible players. And it seems as though he has gone from being a youth player to a key player at Bayern Munich this season. And I guess that's why his market value is expected to rise in the Bundesliga market value update at the end of this month.
Yeah, his transition from a youth player, as you said, to now a Bayern star is really impressive. And as you said, his press resistance is his main key part of his game. He's a deep lying playmaker. He's very calm on the ball. Also has very high pass succession rates. So I think, sometimes he's a bit like Toni Kroos. As I don't say he will reach his levels, but as you want, he has some comparisons to him. And yeah, he made the next step. And as we also always take a look to international players for comparisons, then we have to say, okay, the gap between him and also players like, for example, Enzo Fernandez or Moses Caicedo or players like that should get smaller. So he will do the next step into the elite of midfielders. But I can't say how far he can go in this update. But it will be a good step.
Yeah, you'll obviously have to read the market value update for that. I'm afraid we can only tease it. But you more or less touched on what I was going to ask next. If you look at the most valuable central midfielders in the world, let's filter out the attacking players because it's obviously not fair to compare them to number 10s or second strikers like Musiala or Bellingham. But Pedri, 150 million euros, Valverde, 120 million, Declan Rice, 120. As you said, Caicedo, 110, Hal Neves at PSG, 110, Vitinha, 110, Fermin Lopez, 100. As we said, he's currently sitting on market value of 75 million euros. Do you think after the season with Bayern and then perhaps after that, a good World Cup with Germany, do you think Pavlović has the potential to challenge guys like Declan Rice, Valverde, and perhaps even Pedri?
Yeah, I think he can challenge them. I think he's the step right before it. So maybe it needs a year or something like that. A strong World Cup would be also very good for him, also for his international recognition. But he's a 22-year-old Bayern midfielder and he's like the star of the future. So I think he has everything to get to the top level and he's on his way. So also in that case, we can be excited for his future.
Absolutely. He's a player who has gone from strength to strength. And it's worth saying at the start of the season, his market value was 55 million euros. So maybe not beyond the realms of possibility that his market value could double in the space of 12 months, which would obviously illustrate how well he's done at Bayern Munich.